program is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, yes. Even on a Monday, it does not matter. You know, you come out of that Sunday thing and some people are like, oh, I have a case of the Mondays, which I never understand that junk, but I guess that's what we get into as we're rolling. Anyways, how are you? How was your weekend? Did you have all kinds of fun? Did you do things that you were excited about? Did you call upon the multiverse itself and say, hey, life is grand and, you know, life is exactly what I want it to be? I don't know if you did or not, but hey, maybe you did. Maybe you did. Maybe you took a look around and you said, life is beautiful. Yeah, maybe that's what occurred. Anyways, today is Monday, July the 31st of 2023. Day 211th of the year, 154 days left to go. Yeah, that's kind of how that whole things work out. We are broadcasting live from, as I get the LinkedIn stuff. We are broadcasting live from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM and hanging out with our friends and colleagues at that other place.
Radio Big. USA, Canada, UK.
Oh, yeah, it's hanging out with our friends at Radio Big, doing the stuff that we get to do over there. Yeah, always a fun time as we're taking over the station and infiltrating. So anyways, if you're not familiar with what the hell we do around here, let's talk about it because those things are going to be important. We talk about safety in the news and safety. That's kind of what we do. We bring in some professional broadcasters that they chammer away on everything that is going on because, hey, what else in the hell would they be doing? Hanging out with us. And then I come in, give you some versionality of a main story, not a main show. And then we kind of go from there. We are a show that is available on radio, number one, followed by a podcast, and then we do a video stream. You know, what the cool kids are calling a video podcast. But we stream that bitch live. That way you can take a look at it as we're doing it in real time. And then we kind of go from there. So there you go. A lot of stuff. If you want to interact with the show, it's an easy and cheesy way to do it. callinradio.com. Messaging, video, audio, all that kind of stuff. I'm terrible about checking into that shit. I kind of try to take a look at it as we go into some of the breaks. So there you go. So if you sit there and you go, well, he didn't pay attention to what the hell I had going on. It's not that I ignored you. It's that I just have this terrible habit of not glancing into that screen that has that information over there. But that's mostly me, not really you. So you know, just take it as that typical relationship thing. It's not you, it's me. Yeah, you know the message. You know that message on how that goes. No doubt about that. Anyways, with that being said, why don't we do this real quick? Why don't we talk about what the hell was trending over the weekend? Because that's going to be important. So let's do that. Let's talk about that right now.
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so in the trends of the ends, let's talk about it. Over the weekend, a post office hero saves the life in a Japanese man. Life goes to the dogs. We'll talk about that as we get into it more. As we get into the different hours, we'll talk about some other things that are going on. We'll talk about Cardi B is sick of people throwing things at her at performers. And Kevin Costner, Costner's estranged wife, estranged wife, not exchange wife, has moved out. We'll talk about that. And award show's latest casualty of the ongoing actors and writers strike. We'll talk a little bit about that. And then we're going to take into some info today about social contracts. We'll talk about that stuff as we get into portion of the main story. Outside of that, well, it's kind of just a convoluted bunch of shit that we're going to talk about today, because that's kind of how I feel today about just talking about a whole bunch of convoluted shit. You know, I look around sometimes and I take a look and I go, isn't it fun that we get to hang out and talk about a little bit about everything. And people go, well, your show is not only about safety, or your show doesn't seem like it's about safety. Well, you have to pay close attention because there's safety in the news and safety. It's kind of the way that it works. I don't want to sit here and go, well, OSHA sit around and changed Statute 45C2B3A, because I don't think you're going to care about that. We have other shows on the Safety FM network that will do that for you. And you can have that conversation all the time. And they can talk about everything that's going on inside of that seg. What I want you to do is be able to take a listen to everything that's going on and take a listen to it, not in adequate time, but as in real time as possible. So that's why you get real news, real time on what's going on ahora, today, deaths. We're talking about utensil usage. I mean, we're talking about everything that's going on as I'm getting it directly from the news sources, opposed to you having to wait. And people go, well, why do you tie that in? Because you have to have topical information to talk about. Because if you start off a damn safety meeting just going directly into safety without talking about how you tie all this shit into something else, let me tell you what you just did. You wasted your time. You really did. Think about it. Even if you listen to some of the most prolific speakers that are out there, they tie into some of the things that are going on in real time with what is going on, opposed to it just being, let's just talk about something. Think about it for a moment, because then you're going to go, oh yeah, that makes sense. Well, I hope you think that makes sense. But anyways, let's get off the soapbox and let's do this. Let's bring in the professional broadcasters because they know what they're doing. I'll tell you, Michael Kastner's waiting over there. He's ready to go. And I'm over here wasting his time. So he's ready to do his thing. So let's do that right now. Here's Michael Kastner coming your way.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
NBC News Radio, I'm Michael Kastner. A blistering heat wave isn't going away as record-setting temperatures move through the south. Heat indexes, which factor in humidity, could soar above triple digits this week across states like Texas, Louisiana, and Florida. In the southwest, Phoenix is now top 110 degrees for 31 straight days. More than 100 million Americans were under heat alerts over the weekend. The mayor of a Texas city is hoping a recent federal heat hazard alert will help his citizens cope with a record heat wave.
We're certainly grateful for a president now that's treating this heat wave with the urgency that I think is necessary.
San Antonio Mayor Ron Nierenberg said on CBS's Face the Nation the alert will help ensure workers and employers know their rights and that workplace protections will be ramped up during the extreme heat. A Democratic congressman says the additional charges accusing former President Trump of wanting to destroy evidence demonstrates a conscience of guilt.
He was trying to obstruct the investigation that he knew was ongoing.
Speaking on ABC's This Week, Dan Goldman of New York says the superseding indictment shows that Trump knew his actions and conduct were wrong. The additional charges stem from conversations between the Mar-a-Lago property manager and an employee about the boss wanting the server deleted, as well as a recorded conversation during which Trump tells someone he can't show them a certain document because he didn't declassify it. The so-called doomsday cult mom is scheduled to be sentenced today in Idaho. More from Mark Mayfield.
Earlier this year, Lori Vallow Daybell was found guilty of murdering her two youngest children and conspiring to kill her husband's ex-wife. Prosecutors say she and her husband were obsessed with doomsday-focused religious beliefs. Vallow Daybell is also charged in Arizona for the death of her first husband. She will not face the death penalty in Idaho, but could be facing up to life in prison.
Michael Kastner, NBC News Radio.
More sarcasm than a Mortal Kombat beatdown. Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in the UK, I'm John Beaver. Investigations are continuing after 44 people died and nearly 200 were injured in an explosion at a political rally in northwest Pakistan. There's set to be a major expansion of oil and gas extraction from the North Sea. Funding has also been announced for a massive new carbon capture project. And the Barbie film has now taken more than $750 million at box offices worldwide.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is calling on new legislation to be passed by the House that would significantly reduce the flow of fentanyl into the U.S. More from Jonathan O'Halloran.
The New York senator held a press conference Sunday urging the House to pass the Fend Off Fentanyl bill, which successfully made its way through the Senate last Thursday. The Senate Majority Leader says the plan can stop the droves of fentanyl entering the country by Christmas, but the House must act.
We are now at a breakthrough moment in the fentanyl crisis. We can stop it. This legislation will stop it. We must get it passed. The House must do its job.
Congress will reconvene in September, and Schumer wants the House to include the legislation in its defense bill at that time. According to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, over 65,000 people died of fentanyl drug overdoses in the U.S. in 2021.
4 people were killed in an ATV crash on Saturday afternoon in Washington State. Brad Ford reports.
The Kittitas County Sheriff's Office says 4 people were riding in a Polaris RZR side by side on a dirt road in the Wenatchee-Okanagan National Forest when it rolled and caught fire. Medics arrived to treat the patients. 2 people died at the scene and 2 people were flown by helicopter to Harborview Medical Center's burn unit where they later died. The cause of the crash remains under investigation.
Grab your chips. It's National Avocado Day. Bree Tennis with more.
Botanists say it's a large berry with a single seed, and that makes it a fruit, not a veggie. They hail from Mexico, although San Diego's the largest producer of the fruit in California. They're loaded with vitamin C and E and have gobs of antioxidants. Harvard University says they're also packed with lutein, which improves cognitive function in children and improves brain health in adults. And WebMD says they have more potassium than a banana, and they can boost your mood. Chips not included.
Gas prices are surging at an 8-month high. AAA says the national average for a gallon of regular unleaded hit $3.75 a gallon on Sunday. Michael Kastner, NBC News Radio.
Bringing you information you never knew you cared about. Rated R Safety Show.
Do you have a claim and not sure where to turn? Coastal Claim Consultants are professionally licensed and bonded public insurance adjusters employed exclusively by you, the policyholder, to represent you after sustaining an insured loss. They assist policyholders in all aspects of processing the claim, working closely with the insured to provide the most equitable and timely settlement possible. They will provide you with comprehensive service, anything from inspecting the loss site, analyzing damages, compiling claim support data, reviewing applicable coverages, assessing replacement costs of damages, and negotiating your settlement. The adjusters at Coastal Claim Consultants will evaluate your claim for no upfront cost whatsoever. Coastal Claim Consultants' fee is based on contingency contracts and are paid when the insurance company sends you a check and it's in your possession. Coastal Claim Consultants are licensed to assist you in the following states: Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, and South Carolina. For more information, go to coastal-cc.com. That's coastal-cc.com. For more information, lighting the way to recovery. Coastal Claim Consultants.
You are listening to a radio god. What? This has to be an error. That host is not a radio god. Anyways, this is the Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Hey, are you tired of hanging around and talking about safety in a boring kind of format? Well, I got something for you. If you haven't hung out with us yet at safetyfm.com, I'm going to encourage you to do so. Yeah, if you come out to Safety FM, you can come hang out with all kinds of safety professionals. Some are safety professionals, some are just people that are talking about safety. But we want to do it in a format that makes it fun and entertaining. If you're kind of trying to figure out what the FM portion is, well, we're a radio station and also a podcast network. You can come out, hang out, and listen to my show, The Jay Allen Show. You can listen to Todd Conklin with the pre-accident investigation, Blaine J. Hoffman with the Safety Pro, The Hop Nerd, Sam Goodman, just to name a few on what can be found on the station. Different things for different people, trying to bring safety in an entertaining form. SafetyFM.com. Go to the website, download the app, and carry it with you all day long. SafetyFM.com. We'll be waiting for you.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobilemobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobilemobile.io. That's mobilemobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
Yeah, there you go. Rated R Safety Show as we are hanging out on this lovely Monday, 17 minutes past the top of the hour, as we are hanging out on Safety FM and Radio Big. Just in case if you're wondering what the hell you've been tuned into, that's kind of the way that it goes from time to time. So there you go. Oh, look, I have a black spot on the top of my head. It's fantastic. I love when my headphones start peeling. The other ones that I wear, just a little FYI. Yeah, for some reason they're big peelers. It's like they're falling apart. I need to change that pad out, but I'm kind of reluctant because my head just kind of goes around it anyways, but whatever. So anyways, let's talk real quick about what the hell's going on inside of the shit list, because that's going to be the thing that people want to hear about, so let's do that. Anyways, NASA has begun simulations for the Artemis 2 mission, which will take a human around the moon and back for the first time in more than 50 years. Early projects include troubleshooting and practice a variety of scenarios and potential issues. Problem with fuel sensors scrubbed the launch of the Artemis 1 multiple times last year. A dedicated training team creates a scripted scenarios ahead of time that the crew and the launch engineers then will respond to in real time as it is a real thing. The entire countdown procedure for the Artemis rocket begins nearly 48 hours before the launch, which is plenty of things need to go exactly right and perfect. My question here is, why don't we just use artificial intelligence to determine what the hell needs to go on? Because that would seem to be the way that we're doing everything else. So why not look at it in that fashion? So the 10-day crewed mission is tentatively scheduled for November. Okay, wait for the last part, of 2024. Yes, November of 2024. So you can't sit around and go, okay, I thought that was this year, because it's sure as shit not this year. That's something to think about. So what do you think? Do you think that you should plan that far ahead, or do you look at it and go, nah, contraire, mon frere, planned out way too far, so, in regards of getting everything done? I mean, I'm just asking the question. I want your opinion, because that's going to be the most important one out of all of them. There is no doubt about it. Anyways, a veteran of the U.S. Postal Service is credited with saving a life of an elderly woman on her route after realizing her mail had started stacking up. Sina Green has worked for the post office in Durango, Colorado for the last 15 years. During the time, she had gotten used to exchanging pleasantries with the 89-year-old Marilyn Smith. So after a few days of not seeing Smith, Green grew worried. And after about 2 weeks, the mail remained uncollected. So Green yelled through the screen door, only to hear a faint whisper response. Green found Smith on the floor in the kitchen and called 911. Smith is now being treated at a hospital. She had just turned 90. This is via KOAT. I mean, 2 weeks. Nobody knows how long she was sitting on the floor. Maybe that's something else to be thinking about.
We are now video streaming the Rated R Safety Show. I don't know why our host has a face for radio. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, Rated R Safety Show. So let's talk a little bit more about some other things that are going on according to the shit list. In a plot of some buddy cop comedy, police in Huron, Ohio reported a bank robbery whose getaway appeared to be including a recycling bin. Authorities responded in the middle of the night to an alarm at Vacationland Credit Union. Yeah, I did say Vacationland Credit Union, where they heard someone walking around on the roof over the bank's drive-through below. A big blue recycling bin was positioned underneath as a service door of the ceiling. Body cam footage shows that the crook opening the door, jumping into the bin, and then the officers quickly moving in to arrest him. It's not clear how the bin worked with the robbery plans, but it sure made for some convenient way to contain him. This is all coming via CNN. So think about that real quick. What kind of a planned idea was that? I mean, think about it. If you agree to some of this and you go, this is a good idea, that means that your plan was probably kind of lackluster. Just think about it for a moment. Anyways, a Japanese man has accomplished his goal of turning himself into a canine. The animal enthusiast who goes by Toko paid over $14,000 for a custom-made collie costume, which he wears while playing fetch, doing tricks, and lying around in his home on all four. Recently, he decided to take a little stroll around his neighborhood in the getup. A clip of him walking around has went viral with over 1.7 million views. After the Togo friends, family, and co-workers say about the odd hobby, nothing. Togo says that he's too embarrassed to tell them. So there you go. So I'm imagining that this suit does not allow him to show his face, because I don't think you would want to show your face if you did that. I mean, I'm just saying. I could be wrong. Maybe you do want to show your face. Anyways, employees at the Moat Marine Laboratory and Aquarium in Sarasota, Florida, are mourning the death of Hugh the manatee. According to the aquarium, Hugh died while engaging in CODIS with his brother, Buffet. The official ruling of the USDA says that they died after suffering a 14-centimeter rip to his colon from sexual encounters with his larger brother. So there you go. The brother lived together in the aquarium for 27 years. So there you go. There you go. Some interesting stuff. Don't know how we get into the news of the weird that way, but it does happen. There is no doubt about that. So don't know what to tell you after that. Anyways, take a listen to this. The Chicago Fire Department is mourning after an off-duty firefighter died as he was pulled from Lake Michigan. Perry Williams has more.
Authorities say Wilbert Hayes was swimming off 31st Street Beach early yesterday with his family after his work shift when he went under the water and did not resurface. Divers searched for him and quickly found him underwater. He was pronounced dead at the hospital. Hayes had been with the department since 2009. I'm Perry Williams.
Okay, thank you, Perry Williams, for that information right there on what is going on. Terrible loss for sure as you hear that going on. No doubt about that. Take a listen to this. A Marvel superhero is now the owner of a South Carolina vodka company. Mark Mayfield has the story.
Actor Jeremy Renner, who has played Hawkeye in a number of Marvel movies, posted on Instagram that he's able to move forward with his interest in Sweetgrass vodka. According to its website, the vodka got a gold medal from the Wine and Spirits Guide, The 50 Best, as the best domestic vodka of 2022. Renner says he has made great progress since his snowplow accident in December. Sweetgrass Vodka said in a news release that Renner is expected to make cross-country appearances during a bottle signing tour. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Okay, thank you, Mark Mayfield, for that. So there you go. Some information as we are talking, no doubt about it. So what do you think? Will you be trying out the vodka to take a swab there of what the hell is going on? I don't know. Anyways, you'll need to ask for utensils and condiments in a takeout with a new law taking effect today in New York City. So take a listen to this.
The new law bans restaurants and eateries in New York City from voluntarily handing out those utensils, condiment packets, and napkins in takeout and delivery orders unless a customer specifically requests it.
I think it's probably helping just a little bit.
It helps, then we shouldn't have it.
Sometimes you're in a hurry and you forget to ask for the utensils, so you have to carry sometimes.
Most of the time you don't need it. The Skip the Stuff law aims to reduce plastic use to help the environment. Businesses have a grace period until July of next year before they face actual fines of up to $400. Jennifer Pilsoni, NBC News Radio, New York.
Oh, sometimes things get so interesting as we are talking. There is no doubt about that. Anyways, thousands of people across the country are starting this week without jobs due to the abrupt closure of yellow freight. Michael Kastner explains.
Executives at the nearly 100-year-old trucking firm informed managers of the operation shut down over the weekend. The company employed roughly 33,000 people and had just relocated their headquarters to Nashville from the Kansas City area last year. Additionally, Yellow, known as YRC Freight, is on the hook for a $700 million emergency loan paid out by the federal government during the pandemic. Corporate leaders are expected to share additional information on the decision to shutter one of the nation's largest freight carriers and likely bankruptcy filings. I'm Michael Kastner.
So here's the question right away. What exactly happens with if you already had freight with them? So if your freight is sitting there, you know some weird things are going to happen there. You're going to take a look around and go, well, how the hell am I going to get from point A to point B with you already having it, and how difficult is it going to be to get your freight back? Think about that.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
I don't know if I'm trying to be entertaining, maybe more like informative than anything else if you start really thinking about it. Anyways, more than 100 people. I can't even talk. Let's try that again in reverse. Okay. More than 100 million people across the U.S. are under a heat alert. Bree Tennis can help you keep cool with science. Take a listen.
Some things are obvious, like drinking water and wearing loose-fitting clothing. But if you're really hot, the physics department at MIT says reach for a hot drink. That will trigger your body's sweat response without raising your core temperature. Also, check that ceiling fan. It's clockwise in the winter to pull warm air up and redistribute it into the room, anti-clockwise in the summer to push air down. And sports drinks are good, but they don't rehydrate you as much as a glass of milk. I'm Bree Tennis, NBC News Radio.
Yeah, you heard that. If you're hot and you need to rehydrate, a glass of milk. I mean, how scary is that? Now, listen, I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but it's something that she just said. So take a listen. Anyways, a longtime friend and business associate of Hunter Biden is expected to testify at Capitol Hill later today. Rory O'Neill has more.
Appearing before the House Oversight Committee will be Devin Archer. In closed-door testimony, he's expected to share details about foreign business ventures with Hunter Biden. The testimony could help investigators understand what, if any, involvement President Biden had with his son's businesses. The testimony comes as Archer awaits sentencing on unrelated charges of conspiracy to defraud a Native American tribe. I'm Rory O'Neill.
Okay, thank you, Rory, for that. Let's talk real quick about the box office and what happened over the weekend. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse came in at number 10 with $1.4 million. Insidious, The Red Door, $3.1 million. Elemental at number 8 with $3.4 million. Number 7, Indiana Jones, The Dial of Destiny, $4 million. Talk to Me, $10 million at number 6. At number 5, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, $10.7 million. At number 4, The Sound of Freedom, $12.4 million. At number 3, Haunted Mansion, $24.2 million. At number 2, Oppenheimer, $46.2 million. And at the number 1 spot for the second week in a row, Barbie, with $93 million. Anyways, with that being said, let's bring some John Smalls in. Let him tell us a little quick about what the hell is going on with the market. Take a listen to this.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Monday, July 31st, brought to you by GenesisGoldIRA.com. Equity markets gained over 1% Friday to close at a new one-year high. The move was inspired by softer-than-expected PCE price data that suggests the FOMC is near the end of its tightening cycle. The caution for investors is that inflation remains hot at 4.1% core, and the oil price is rising. Oil prices underpin inflation. With WTI set to move to a multi-month high, inflation will accelerate again. This week will be another trying one for investors. A host of earnings reports are due out this week on top of the monthly labor data. The NFP report is expected to show another solid increase in job creation and rising wages. The risk is twofold. A hot figure will play into the idea that the FOMC is not through raising interest rates, while a cool one may foreshadow the recession that has loomed for the last year. You can get the inside track from Wall Street's brightest minds delivered directly to your inbox every day at MarketBeatMinute.com.
1. Okay, thank you, John Small, for the information. Let's bring some John Smalls in. Let him tell us a little quick about what the hell is going on with the market. Take a listen to this. Here's your Market Beat Minute for Monday, July 31st, brought to you by GenesisGoldIRA.com. Equity markets gained over 1% Friday to close at a new one-year high. The move was inspired by softer-than-expected PCE price data that suggests the FOMC is near the end of its tightening cycle. The caution for investors is that inflation remains hot at 4.1% core, and the oil price is rising. información. Yes, thanks for the information. Always important when you have to share. So what I saw was the Dow was up 176 points to close at 34,456 on Friday. The S&P added about 44 points to close at 4,582, and NASDAQ added about 266 points to close at 14,316. West Texas Intermediate closed at $80 a barrel, and Brent crude was at $84 a barrel. The national average price of a gallon of gas was $3.75, and Bitcoin was mostly flat over the weekend, trading just at $29,200. And what else did we see? Well, let's see. There was more than 4,620 flights delayed within, into, and out of the United States on Sunday, and about 335 such cancellations. Tuesday night's Mega Million drawing will be for $1.05 billion with a B jackpot, or a $527.9 million cash payout. Tonight's Powerball drawing will be for $74 million, or a $37.5 million cash payout. So if you want to play the game, you still have the opportunity to do so. There is no doubt about that. So there you go. There you go. Anyways, let's do this. What do we want to do? Let's do this real quick. Coming out of Michigan, two Grand Rapids rabbis, David Schriffer of the Congressional Eye Have Israel and Michael Shandrick of the Temple Emmanuel have joined 24 other rabbis to support allowing undocumented immigrants to get Michigan driver's license. Saber Gonzalez is a volunteer of the Movimiento Cosecha in Grand Rapids and supports the efforts.
We give a lot to this country, and it seems like our voices are never heard. And the least that we could get is a driver's license.
The state began requiring people to prove either U.S. citizenship or immigration status in the license in 2008, and rabbis say that people cannot prove their immigration status deserve dignity and security. Democrats introduced the Drive Safe bills in Lansing in April, but the legislation has not seen any action yet. Senate Minority Leader Eric Nesbitt of Von Buren County is opposed to making the change. Saber Gonzalez says the volunteer Movimiento is a Grand Rapids, and Grand Rapids supports the efforts of the Jewish community is to push the following immigrants to get their driver's license in Michigan.
People need a license to transport themselves to their medical appointments. Sometimes family have emergencies across the state.
So there you go. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Let's do the main story.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so it is time to talk about some things that happen and that we have to effectively understand that it happens when it happens, and we understand that it doesn't happen when it doesn't happen, but it's constantly happening even though you've never truly agreed to doing any of this. And what the hell am I talking about? We're going to talk today a little bit in the main story about the social contracts. Yes, social contracts. Let's talk about that. Maybe I should give you the actual definition that comes from Merriam-Webster's dictionary before we get too far down the path here, because that might be the simpler process. It's an actual or hypothetical agreement among the members of an organized society or between a community and its rulers that defines the limits of the rights and the duties of each. So let's go a little bit more deeper inside of this. So the social contracts is theoretically a construct that refers to the implicit and explicit agreements among individuals that form the basis of society and its states. The concepts of the central are both political philosophies and legal theories. So bear with me. The idea of a social contract can be traced back to the ancient Greece, but it was mostly articulated during the Enlightenment by philosophers like Thomas Hobbes, John Locke, and Jean Rousseau. So there you go. You can look those things up. And let's talk about social contracts. Social contracts, we can use this. Let's use the idea for a moment. Let's get to a four-way stop. Let's get to a traffic light. The moment you get to one of those, there is this agreement that we have that we believe that the other people will do what the actual traffic light or sign has designed to do. It is an agreement that we're okay, that If it's red, you are going to stop. If it's yellow, you're going to caution and not go through more than likely. And if it's green, you're going to do whatever needs to be done to get across whatever that line is. We also have these weird things that we agree to with society and our social agreements, our social contracts, that it's okay for if these kind of people are injured, it's okay if those people get killed, but it's not okay if these societal level people do not. Now, I'm not saying that I agree with any of this. I'm just saying that that's how these things come across. And it's interesting that if you take a look at our industry, is what we do for work, it is expected, and to some level, okay, that we go, okay, if we do this kind of work 1,000 times and someone gets injured, maybe in 10,000 times, only once, we're okay to continue to do that work. And that is okay to do. And that's a field person that gets injured. But if we were doing that work and after 1,000 times, a person that was in upper management would get hurt, that would not be so okay. Think about it for a moment. Think about how we accept these social contracts across the board, regardless of what the hell's going on. Regardless of what it is. Now, I want to give a small theory here. Now, I want to go back several years ago. We're going to go back 15 years. And there was this really popular movie that came out. And there was this character by the name of the Joker in Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight that provides a proactive exploration on social contract theory. And I bet it's very disrupted in a chaotic manner, but I want you to kind of think about this. The Joker is depicted by the character who completely rejects the social contracts and seeks to demonstrate an inherent fragility to everything that goes on. The Joker consistently disrupts the function that is inside of this fake city, which is known as Gotham City, and their social order, but not out of the desire of personal gain, but to show the so-called civilized behavior of people breaks down under certain conditions. Now, think about this a moment, because his actions will challenge the stability and the social contract by pushing individuals to their limits and forcing them to act in ways to violate the principles of the contract itself. Now, if you're familiar with this movie, you kind of already know how this goes, but let's talk a little bit more about it. Perhaps the most explicit exploration of the theme in the movie is the ferry scene. And this is a very important scene in this movie. The Joker allegedly has placed 2 bombs on two ferries, one carrying convicts and the other one carrying civilians. And it gives the passengers of each boat a detonator to the other one's bombs. He tells them that they have until midnight to decide whether to blow up the other boat. If neither has done so by midnight, he will blow them both up. This is a clear test of the social contract, and will people uphold the principles of mutual protection and respect for life, or will they act selfishly to preserve their own lives? Interestingly, the passengers on both boats choose not to detonate the other's bombs, even if it seems that the Joker is about to blow them up. This moment seems to affirm that the power of the social contract, even under the extreme duress, which contradicts the Joker's, view on social contracts. However, it is worth noting that the Joker is not advocating for a particular alternative in the social contract, but as the same of the other character like Ra's al Ghul or Bane in the other Nolan Batman films. Might be. Because they're really kind of pushing that. Rather, he seems to be an agent of chaos who exists simply to challenge and disrupt established social norms and to push others to question the fundamental principles upon which their society is built. Now, when you think about social contracts, think about this for a moment. Inside of an organization, you can have something set up one way or another. But one person's agenda can override the whole thing. Think about it. We might be okay that a field level person is injured, which is not really okay, but some people might be okay with that. But people might not be okay that a C-level person got injured. But then the CEO comes in and goes, we're going to change everything. And that one person's idea will override the rest of the system. So as you sit back today and give some consideration to this, how do you see social contracts inside of your work environment? Do they exist? And if so, how do they work? And if so, what do you do? Or do you just go, it's just really a made-up theory. There is no really social contracts. We just do what needs to be done regardless.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
Radio Big. Streaming 24/7 at radiobig.fm.
So do you feel like you're missing out on what everyone is starting to do now, that live streaming thing, and you don't know where to start or what to do? I have the resource and the information to provide to you in regards on how you can stream onto 40 social media platforms all at one time. Yes, that's 40 social media platforms all at one time. All you'll need to do is go to safetyfm.com/1. That's safetyfm.com/1. That's ONE. So just in case, and you'll be able to start live streaming just like you're hearing people starting to do right now, up to 40 social media platforms.
Listen to our host
of the Rated R Safety Show.
self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
We all want to make sure that our family is protected in medical emergencies. What many of us don't realize is that health insurance won't always cover the full amount of an emergency medical flight. Even with comprehensive coverage, you could get hit with high deductibles and copays. That's why an Air Medcare Network membership is so important. As a member, if an emergency arises, you won't see a bill for air medical transport when flown by an AMCN provider. Best of all, a membership covers your entire household for as little as $85 a year. AMCN providers are called upon to transport nearly 100,000 patients a year. This is coverage no family should go without. Now, as a Jay Allen Show listener, you'll get up to a $50 e-gift card with a new membership. Simply visit airmedcarenetwork.com/safety and use the offer code SAFETY. And don't forget to tell them that Jay Allen sent you.
What do guys like besides pizza and morning sex?
Jay Allen in the morning.
It's so bizarre and unnatural.
It's all good. On Radio Big.
Our safety show, hour number 1 of the Jay Allen in the Morning Show, here on Radio Big and Safety FM. Oh, let's talk about stuff the way we left it. This is the interstate right here. No, not that I'm getting onto the interstate, because that'd be really weird doing a radio show as I'm getting onto the interstate, even though I could probably pull it off, but that's a whole other story. But let's talk about this. Let's talk about how we left the stuff. Now, that's the song that's playing. This is the interstate, the way we left it. You can take a little download action for it if you want to. All you have to do is go to YouTube Music, Apple Music, and Spotify. And listen, this is not an ad for YouTube Music, but if you have YouTube Premium, YouTube Music's part of the gig. Some people get confused when I start talking about it. But it's cool. It's cool. Anyways, top of the hour, I'm going to be going over to Radio Big exclusively for the next couple hours or so. Hanging out, doing the stuff I do over there. Sheldon Primus will be taking over here at the top of the hour, talking about the world of safety consulting, because that's what he does. Actually, I was just texting with him over the weekend. He's down in South Dakota. You know, the state that's so nice it had to be named twice, North Dakota, South Dakota. But I guess you get that in the Carolinas too. Anyway, so let's talk. Let's talk, as we are running, inside of the show time, but behind my timesheet, that's for sure. We are 47 minutes past the top of the hour. That means it's closer to doing that stuff that you need to be doing today. So let's just leave it the way that we did over there on the interstate, because that's for sure. But let me tell you about the most important thing that I'm ever going to tell you inside of my lifetime, and that's about my friends at To Right Love on Her Arms. Regardless of what you're facing right now, you deserve to be connected to help. To Right Love on Her Arms wants you to know that people have been where you are now, and things can get better. All you have to do is go to their website, twloha.com. That's twloha.com, and click on the section that says Find Help. Seriously, you do that, things will start improving for you. At least it's getting you down that path of the source on where you need to go. twloha.com. Click on the section that says Find Help. Listen, all kinds of information there. There's the crisis lines there for the U.S., Canada, the U.K., Ireland, and so many others. All you have to do is go there to take a look at the different resources that are readily available for you. Seriously. So take a look around, see what's there. Let's get you moving and grooving and seeing on how we can get you some help. And you might turn around and go, hey, I don't need that help. But I look at it and go, well, maybe you don't. But there might be help that you can do for others. So there you go. Anyways, let's take a look at this. Scientists say that they have developed a new super weapon against cancer. Researchers at the University College of London, because that's not confusing at all, say the cancer-busting guide missile built from a microscope components click together like Legos. It is possible for the new therapy device to join the trio of proteins together to create a molecular superweapon. Dr. Peter Jitsi describes this, that we have the antibody fragment that binds the cancer cells, and that the guidance system, another one that calls it the artillery strike. The T cells, which kills cancer, and then the enzymes knock out the defenses. And he said that the treatment provides particular effective at killing breast cancer cells. And although there is more work to be done, there is so much untapped potential. So there you go. Some different options that are readily available for you right there as we are talking. So take a look at that. I guess that is something to be taking a look-see at as we go into it. Anyway, let's talk about Did You Know real quick. Scientists have revived a worm that was frozen for 46,000 years, a time when the woolly mammoth and the saber-toothed tigers still roamed the earth. The round worm of previously unknown species survived about 40 meters or 131 feet below the surface of the Siberian permafrost in a dormant state. One of them, researchers revived two of them by simply rehydrating them with water. Scientists use radiocarbon analysis of the plant material in the sample that was established at the deposits that had been thawed since between 45,839 and 47,769 years ago. So, nobody should use the word live bait. That is just so wrong. No, seriously, it's just so wrong.
Who truly cares what this guy has to say? Who gives a shit? Rated R Safety Show.
I'm just saying, hey, I'm not saying to go out there. I'm not a fishing kind of person. I mean, I don't know. I'm just throwing some ideas. That's what I do. I just throw ideas out there. Anyways, let's talk about this. Gas prices are surging to an 8-month high. Experts that know that Tom Closa says that the cuts in production are to blame, but it's the record-breaking heat.
You've got a lot of refineries that are coughing and wheezing. They're not really geared to run with 10 or 15 days of 100-degree temperatures in a row.
AAA says that the national average price of a gallon of gas, regular unleaded, hit $3.75 on Sunday per gallon. The same today, the 17 cents more than a week ago. Industry experts blame the spike on production cuts and a record-breaking heat. The caution that the prices could jump even further if the refinery issues or a hurricane affects production in the Gulf of Mexico. Andy Lipho with Lipho Oil Associates in the industry fears that gas prices will continue to spike moving into peak hurricane season.
When a hurricane enters into the Gulf of Mexico, supplies can be disrupted, resulting in higher gasoline and diesel prices.
So get ready for the price hike is what they're saying. Get ready, bitches, for some price hiking in regards to that. I mean, isn't that what it felt like? I mean, or maybe I just have that weird feeling thing going on today. Maybe it's one of those emotional weekends that I'm coming off of, and I just don't know what to do anymore. Okay, maybe I'm just taking it way too severe. Anyways, let's get motivated. Let's just do that, because I think it was going to be better if we do. Here's some John Smalls coming your way right now.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote was submitted by William. Robin Williams said, "I think the saddest people always try their hardest to make people happy because they know what it feels like to feel absolutely worthless. And they don't want anybody else to feel like that." That quote now resonates far more now that we know Robin Williams struggled so much that he eventually took his life. Such a sad thing for everybody involved. Please know that suicide is never the right answer. If you're feeling overwhelmed, take a moment to visit with somebody. If you don't know who to talk to, you can call a helpline. The website findahelpline.com can connect you with one in your area. Findahelpline.com. You can call and find the help you need. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Okay, there you go. Thank you, John Smalls, for the information right there on what exactly is going on, because listen, we love to share some information all the time on what exactly is happening inside of our world. I mean, no doubt about that, because why would we not do that? Anyways, let's do the health beat, because I think it's important to do that. We can't skip that. I mean, why would we want to skip the health beat? So let's do that right now.
A new study suggests including olive oil in your diet may help aid against dementia. Research presented last week in Boston at the annual meeting of the American Society for Nutrition shows olive oil could reduce risk of dying from dementia by 28%. According to the authors, it's the first time the link has been studied. A co-author says the study reinforces dietary guidelines around olive oil, suggesting that it supports both heart health and brain health. A data breach impacting Florida hospitals could be linked to Russian gang activity. Authorities say Johns Hopkins All Children's, Tampa General, and HCA hospitals were attacked this month. The State Department is offering a $10 million reward for anyone with information about the CLOP ransomware group. Health Updates, Sarah Lee Kessler, NBC News Radio.
Safety never sounded so terrible. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, thank you, Sarah Lee Klessler, for the information on what is going on. Anyways, let's talk about some things that happened back on this date, because that seems like an important thing to do right now. So, taking a look around, let's see. Back in 2020, the Al-Qaeda leader Ayman al-Zawahiri, who helped plan the 9/11 attacks, killed in a CIA drone strike in Afghanistan. President Joe Biden has called the strike the biggest blow to the Al-Qaeda since Osama bin Laden was killed. That happened back in 2022. Anyways, taking a look around some birthdays today. Rico Rodriguez turns 25. Blake Michelle turns 27. Kyle Larson, 31. Alex Knapp, 34. Charlie Carver and AJ Green, 35. Matt Shadows, 42. BJ Novak turns 44. Let's see. Will Champion, Zach Brown, both turn 45. J.K. Rowling turns 58. I wish it was 48. Wesley Snipes turns 61. Mark Cuban actually turned 65, and Michael Bin turned 67. So there you go. There are some birthdays that are going on today, in case you are looking. If you're looking at some days of the year to celebrate, I have some of those for you as well. It's Black Toad Day, World Ranger Day, National Raspberry Cake Day, Uncommon Instrument Awareness Day, National Mutt Day, and then, of course, last but not least, National Avocado Day. So if you're into that kind of stuff, there is definitely a reason to be, because that's what it sounds like. So there you go. There you go. There you go. For sure. Before I forget, let's talk about this. If you are not aware, the Conklin Conference coming up in a little under 2 months right now here in Orlando, Florida. If you want to come and hang out here in the month of September, the 27th through the 29th, you have the opportunity to come and be with Todd Conklin, Jen Long, Bob Edwards, Mark Yeston, and Andrea Baker, as they're talking about going through human and organizational performance, having the discussion right there in regards of everything that is going on. You can come hang out here in Orlando. For more information, all you have to do is go to safetyfm.io for more information. That's safetyfm.io to find out some more on what is going on. I'll be there hosting the event if you want to come and hang out and do that thing. So there you go, safetyfm.io for more info. Okay, so there you go. If you need a random joke for today, I'm sure I can give you one of those, or two, or maybe 15. Let's do that. So, if you, like I said, if you need that, when the doorbell rings, I always answer in my jacket, in my hands, depending on who's there. I can either say that I've came in, or I'm just about to leave. There you go. If you need a phone starter for today, try this. What's the dumbest thing you did as a kid? I don't think we have that kind of time for this show, so just so you know. If you need something for the water cooler, try this. Question: 20% of us do this at work at least twice a week, and no one ever knows about it. What is it? Show up late. I'll tell you, I have friends that show up late all the time to work. At least that's what they tell me. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how it goes. I don't know what people do. Does anybody even watch anymore? Like, who showed up late? Who took the executive style lunch that was gone for 3-4 hours? I mean, I'm just asking. And I shouldn't say that, because that's kind of an asshole to all executives, because that's not really the truth to all executives. So there you go. That's going to sum up our time. Like I said, top of the hour, I'll be going over to Radio Big. If you stay here on Safety FM, you can hang out with Sheldon Primus and go from there. If I can leave you with a deep thought for today, I would love to leave you with this one. You may be disappointed if you fail, but you are doomed if you don't try. Think about it. Just think about it. Anyways, thank you for always being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener, because without you, it doesn't make any sense to do what we do around here. I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
That's called the wrong button.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.
There's always something, trying hard to find the words I guess. I get so desperate, trying hard to work for someone else. I hear a siren, like a million voices scream out loud. But it's so quiet,